This week on Morning Mika, Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney show us what real strength looks like. Watching Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris joining forces with staunch Republican Liz Cheney this week on the campaign trail in the battleground states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin was powerful. It was also a glaring beacon of warning for women across the United States. As they spoke on stage, I was moved to tears and beamed with pride all at the same time.
I come to this decision as a mother. I have 5 children. And there was a moment right after January 6th when my husband and I were having dinner with our 2 youngest, our 2 sons. And I looked across the table at my young sons, and I thought to myself, you know, in the aftermath of the attack on the Capitol, are they going to grow up in a country where we don't have to worry about the peaceful transfer of power? Are they going to grow up in a country where that is guaranteed? And I believe that every one of us in this election has a duty and an obligation to do what we know is right for the country, and that's to support Vice President Harris. So I'm very honored to be here and to do that.
Here we have 2 women from 2 extremely different backgrounds with completely opposing points of view on many of the core political issues, including abortion, gun control, foreign policy, and much more, coming together to try and save America from the imminent danger of another Trump presidency. Unlike Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, and longtime Senator Lindsey Graham, plus so many more, cowardly so-called conservatives who obediently bend to Trump's will, Harris and Cheney are unafraid. Even more, they're speaking their minds. They're pushing back. They're showing machismo-obsessed Republicans what real alphas look like.
I'm a conservative, and I know that the most conservative of all conservative principles is being faithful to the Constitution. And you have to choose in this race between someone who has been faithful to the Constitution, who will be faithful, and Donald Trump, who it's not just us predicting how he will act. We watched what he did after the last election. We watched what he did on January 6th.
Cheney has been speaking out about January 6th for years. Her courage leading the congressional investigation into January 6th cost her her House seat. It cost her many friends. It cost her political career. And yet, she is unstoppable. Liz Cheney is a hero, the definition of it. She is doing what's right, no matter the cost. Cheney is still fighting forward. She's not retreating. In fact, she's on the offensive again, fighting for truth, justice, and commitment to the Constitution. And she's crossing over party lines and joining with Democrat Kamala Harris to speak out in a bipartisan way on this critical issue of the Constitution. Where are more real Republicans right now? Trump's own generals and chief of staff have come forward with chilling details of things he has said and tried to do and wants to do and has done. The people closest to him are the ones who are sharing the most dangers of him. This will take all of us, all real Republicans who have a voice and a platform. Like Cheney, Vice President Kamala Harris has also spent her life protecting our freedoms and fighting for justice. And right now, Kamala Harris is at the epicenter of the fight for America's life. It's not hyperbole. America's on the line. And these 2 women, both honorees on the Forbes and Know Your Value 50 over 50 list, are outmanning the men and stepping into the space of American heroes. Whether it's on the debate stage or on the campaign trail, Harris and Cheney are on the front lines, make no mistake. Conservatives have revoked access to life-saving health care. But Cheney herself, a lifelong conservative, is joining with Harris to call for women across the country who now face draconian restrictions to claw some freedoms and access to life-saving health care back. Because right now, Harris and Cheney both know that our reality, what's happening to women right now, is only a small dose of what is to come if Trump wins. At this very moment, women are forced to bleed out in parking lots, deliver pregnancies that are unviable and become sterilized, and even risk death because of Trump overturning Roe. It is really hard to fathom. I understand this. Yet things could get worse. We're in a moment where we have a former president saying out loud what he will do, laying the predicate for using our nation's military to go after his political adversaries or anybody he doesn't like. Here we have Trump right now calling January 6th, the insurrection, a day of love. And you see that attitude beginning to slowly play out on pro-Trump TV networks, whether it's Fox News or News Nation or wherever. They're tamping down the truth, saying it wasn't so bad. Maybe it was just a bad day. Or come on, stop using the January 6th thing like it doesn't matter. My fear is that Americans will not believe that the insurrection at our nation's capital was anything at all. This is fascism playing out before our eyes. A cult-like leader, a giant megaphone, repeating things over and over again until they have the veneer of truth. This is the most dangerous game a presidential candidate or any politician has played ever in modern American history. What gives me hope is these two smart, accomplished, experienced women who know their value and are putting everything aside to try and preserve and protect what many people simply can't comprehend. Freedom is supposed to be comfortable, and in that, we shouldn't have to worry about it. And yet, perhaps, we've become too comfortable, too flip about the concept. We've become blasé about our own history. We're a nation of immigrants like my parents who escaped Hitler, fleeing their countries to ultimately come here to America to rebuild their own lives, but also help build the strength of our democracy because they know what's at stake and how precious it is. They knew. They lived it. Harris and Cheney are fighting for tomorrow, for all of us. And if that tomorrow comes, they will be on the front lines of making sure America never finds itself on a cliff like this ever again.